So this thought came to me to do a video log and just to communicate whatever it is that I have to communicate, and do it with some kind of frequency. So here goes. And if anyone ever sees this, that's great. Hope that you get something out of it. If no one ever sees it, that's great too. It's all the same thing. So today, for this one, I thought I would talk about no parachute, no ground. This is the name I use for my blog. And it comes from a chapter in a book by Joseph Goldstein. And I first heard it as him reading it. I downloaded it off the internet. And when I heard it, it was just such a perfect description of my experience on the it's my experience of existing, I guess. So the talk is basically he's describing the spiritual path, and he talks about how when we first come on the spiritual path, it's like it's like being thrown out of an airplane, and there's this kind of exhilaration, this whole new world, and this kind of boundarylessness, and we kind of really enjoy that for a while, and then we realize through our ongoing spiritual exploration that we don't have a parachute. In a sense, we kind of discover that there's nothing to protect us. And so then there's a kind of panic that occurs, and kind of a flailing. And what does it all mean? I don't know, maybe it's kind of a nihilist perspective. And then if we keep on it, we come to recognize that there's actually no ground, and there's nowhere to fall to. And so then our spiritual path is just this kind of endless falling. And then we just kind of rest in that. And that, when I heard that, it's just summarized it so elegantly. And that's really describes my experience. And like in a day, I can kind of go through those three experiences where I well, actually it kind of goes that it's like I'm looking for some kind of ground to stand on. um, through whatever reasons, through my identity, through my profession, through being some kind of guide or, I don't know, husband, father, son, all those things, some kind of ground to stand on. And I can kind of get engaged in it. Yes, yeah, this is the ground I'm going to stand on. I'm going to make my stand here. And then usually what will happen is then come these thoughts that threaten that ground, right? That, oh, well, you don't have money for that, or, you know, no one's interested in what you have to say, or for whatever, or, you need to do this and be a better husband or a better father, or whatever, can go even into the past. Oh, you should have taken that left turn at Albuquerque. You should have done this. You should have done that. You should have bought these stocks or whatever. You should have said this. Um, yeah, so it's like these things arise together, this establishing of an identity and of a ground, and simultaneously this threatening of the ground. And somewhere in there, it's kind of like just waking up from a dream. It's like, oh yeah, what am I doing? There's no ground. It's silly for me to try and establish some kind of ground. And then it's this resting again, resting in just beingness. And so I started this website, and no parachute, no ground, and I thought that was, people would just get it, they'll just see and like, yeah, so clear. I don't know. I don't know if anyone's gotten what. And I think these kind of video diaries are going to be a little bit rambly, and a little bit here and a little bit there. The kind of stream of thought. I actually thought about, like, should I have a should I have a title, some kind of anchor to guide me, or should I just freely associate and then come up with a title afterwards? And I don't know if it makes any difference. Anyways, yeah, so no parachute, no ground. And when I engage with others and support them in this kind of work, that's really all I'm doing, is I'm either pointing out how they're looking for a parachute in whatever way that manifests, is manifesting in their lives at the time, And then usually by them seeing that it's a parachute, I was kind of like, oh yeah, I see. But sometimes I kind of, there's a needing to be kind of a pointing to that there's um, no ground. And typically that's just done by pointing to the self, right? The self is our ground, um, our imagined ground. And when a person has kind of come around to get a sense that the illusionary nature of the self and how that self is, or that investing in that illusion is really not serving them, and in a lot of ways is the cause of their angst. Um, when that's glimpsed, then it's kind of a crack, and then they'll usually then it's just kind of a reminding. There's not really much else to be done. I mean, really, in even doing this is kind of like that. Right? There's kind of like this, let's put it on, video. And someone will see it and it'll help someone. I don't know. It's challenging to do this because there's not a lot of words that come. Like there's this so much space. And there's these words that arise in that space. And there's kind of the, not kind of, there is these thoughts that, oh my God, John, what are you doing? No one's gonna sit through this. But that's how it is. It works well when there's questions, right? When someone directs a question to me, and there's like a engagement and like a dance, and let's figure out this question, and then there's a kind of a back and forth. When it's just open and we'll talk about this, there's not too much to talk about. Well, maybe there is, but there's not too much that that arises. Um, yeah. So maybe I'll end it there. Um, so no parachute, no ground. Just if one could make that their mantra. In some ways, it's kind of my mantra, but it's more of a imagery, more of a feeling than words. The words kind of come after to describe it. Because that's really all there is. Like existence is just flying by. It's kind of like Alice falling down the rabbit hole, and there's all the things she sees along the way. But it kind of feels like the opposite. It feels like we're Alice and we're just here, and life is zooming by. And it's all just happening. And if we can I'm trying to say more about that, but the words are leaving. Like thoughts that just zoom by. This concept of time. Like it's all just happening around us. I put the timer on, the stopwatch on before I started so I didn't go on too long. And there's these numbers. And the numbers on one side go really, really fast. You can't even see what they are. And the numbers go slower as you go along. And the idea is that those numbers represent something. They kind of represent the rabbit hole falling around us. And really, that's all there is. So, in my experience, it seems like whether one is willing to accept that that's all there is. And that seems to be it's just a question of perspective. And, there's teachers that say it's so simple, and it's just right here. It's always been here. And the path and the work, I guess, is in some ways my path was a willingness to come to terms with that. Though come to terms with the ordinariness of existence. And yeah, because it's not easy, right? We want more, we want we want bliss, we want, I don't know, we want love, we want, I don't know, not to react, not to feel bad, not to have vices, not to have neurosis. But it seems that, I don't know, I mean, for some people, maybe that's their experience. But not for many. And I guess I wasn't willing to wait. I was interested in those teachers that said it was here, now, available to all of us at any time. And I guess that's each of our journey. Whether that's enough. Whether no parachute, no ground is enough. Or whether one needs more. Yeah. Who's to say? I can't say that my experience is it. All I know is it was enough for me, and I stopped. I put down all my seeking and just came to rest. Rest in falling. I mean, I highly recommend it. But I don't know, maybe it's not for everyone. It's like the story of the blind man and the elephant, or say blind people, and the elephant, and they each explored a different part of the elephant and described an elephant in that way, right? You know the story. One was the trunk, and one was the leg, and one was the tail, one was the ear, one was the big round belly, and that's what they thought an elephant looked like. So it's possible that I'm just experiencing one part of the elephant, and it so happens to correspond with what I was looking for, or perhaps what I'm content with. Maybe other people looking for different parts of the elephant. Well, I'm going to stop it here, and yeah, I hope there was something in this for anyone and maybe someday this will be watched by another human being. Who can say? All right. So if anyone's out there, wish you all good things.